Hello and welcome back to some more Snooker 19 and another experiment where we see what if Mark Williams had retired and didn't appear on this game. We have already done experiments with both Mark Selby and Ronnie O'Sullivan, seen some very different results. Now, Mark Williams was a common denominator in both of those and he won a hell of a lot of tournaments. So without further ado, we're going to take control of Mark Williams and we're going to see exactly what happens if he was to retire. So here we go. The Welsh potting machine, of course. We'll start season 1. We do qualify for the Riga Masters because he's world champion, of course. So that'll hopefully change things up. But it's Ronnie O'Sullivan versus Mark Allen in the Riga Masters, and Ronnie O'Sullivan wins it 5-2. Yushan World Open then. Same Ronnie O'Sullivan in the final. John Higgins there again. And it's Ronnie that wins the second tournament. So he's won 2 out of 2 so far. Indian Open qualifiers, we skip those. Now, Paul Hunter Classic. Skip that one. Hoping to see a different finalist. Not quite, but Dave Gilbert already into a final in this experiment. But Ronnie wins the third tournament of the season. He beats Dave Gilbert 4-0. So Ronnie looks like he's just going to dominate this. Higgins versus Ronnie. Ronnie wins again. So he's won every tournament this season so far. But he's not going to win this one because it's Kyron Wilson versus John Higgins. And John Higgins wins it 11-7. It isn't a ranking event though. Ronnie versus John in the Indian Open, and Ronnie wins it. China Championship then. Who's going to win this one? Ronnie or Mark Selby? Ronnie wins it 10-5. This is becoming insane. Now, European Masters. Kyron Wilson versus Judd Trump, and Judd Trump wins it. So finally a different winner of a ranking event this season. As we go into the English Open, it's going to be Ronnie versus Neil, and Ronnie wins it 9-7. World Snooker International Championship, Ronnie versus Neil, and Neil wins it. He overthrows Ronnie in that tournament. Champion of Champions. Ronnie versus Neil, 3 tournaments in a row, and Ronnie wins it 10-8. So, Bet Victor Northern Ireland Open, last one before our rankings check. Jack Lazowski versus John Higgins, and John Higgins wins it. So that's an interesting finalist straight away there. Jack Lazowski up to 9 in the world now. Ronnie O'Sullivan creating a bit of a gap at the top to Judd Trump. Neil Robertson 3rd, Higgins 4th. We've dropped to 5th now. So it'll be interesting to see who takes our spot. Ali Carter ready and waiting in 17th to take our spot in the top 16 when we do eventually drop out. But what's interesting is how low Ding Junhui is. He's in 13th at the moment. But yeah, let's head on. Skip the UK Championship. Stuart Bingham versus Ronnie, and Ronnie wins at 10-2. Bet Victor Scottish Open. Trump versus Selby. Trump wins it. German Masters, obviously skip the qualifying, and then we've got Championship League business. Bingham versus Ronnie again, and Ronnie wins it. Championship League 2, Lazowski versus Trump, and Trump wins it. Daffabet Masters then, second Triple Crown event of the season. Ronnie versus John, and Ronnie wins it 10-7. He's on for the Triple Crown in a season. Championship League 3, Bingham versus Robertson. Robertson wins. So Stuart Bingham not doing too bad in this save so far. Neither is Jack Lazowski. He's doing alright, playing Higgins now. And Higgins wins 3-0. German Masters then. Ronnie versus Mark Allen. Let's just have a quick rankings check. You can see Bingham's moved up to 9. Jack Lazowski's still in 10th. Very, very interesting. Ronnie creating a bit of a gap at the top now. He's going to have even more of a gap. He's just won the German Masters 9-3 against Mark Allen. Coral World Grand Prix. Stuart Bingham versus Judd Trump. I'm really hoping Bingham can do it, but he can't. He loses 10-1 in the final. Welsh Open. Kyron Wilson versus Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's Ronnie O'Sullivan that wins it 9-1. It's insane how many tournaments Ronnie has won this season. Championship League 5. Mark Selby versus Stuart Bingham. Selby wins it in a decider. Championship League 6. Bingham versus Allen. Surely Bingham's going to win this one. Oh, he doesn't. Snooker shootout. Could throw up a surprise winner. Trump versus Wilson. Trump wins it 1-0. Well done to Judd Trump. Players' Championship. Ronnie versus Mark. Mark Selby wins it. That's the first ranking tournament he's won this season. Gibraltar Open. Trump versus Allen. Trump wins it. So Trump starting to come back into form here to a championship coming up. Selby versus Trump in the final. And Selby wins it. So Selby starting to come back to his dominant best. Championship League 7. Bingham versus Hawkins. And Bingham wins it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Finally, Stu Bingham wins one of the Championship Leagues. Is he going to get to this final? No, he doesn't. Ronnie versus Mark Allen. And Mark Allen overthrows the Rocket there. The China Open then. Ronnie versus Mark. Ronnie wins it, so that's a big tournament to win. And going into the World Championship then, let's have a little look. So Ronnie 700k ahead of Judd Trump. Mark Selby up into 3rd, Robertson 4th, Higgins 5th, Allen 6th, Wilson 7th, we're in 8th, so Bingham is net 8th if you like, Lisowski 10th, Ali Carter still the main man, ready to go into the top 16, but Ryan Day and Joe Perry are very, very close to Ali Carter, and a good World Championship could really help them. So let's skip the event. Selby versus O'Sullivan in the final, a repeat of 14, and it's Selby that wins it in a decider, 18-17. And there you go, at the end of season 1, that is the way we stand. So, let's skip these qualifiers and we'll have a quick little gander at the rankings. So, Ronnie O'Sullivan leading the way, of course. Selby now up to 2nd, Trump 3rd, Stu Bingham into the top 8. Ali Carter is still ahead of Ryan Day and Joe Perry. I'd really love to see one of those two go above Carter and see how they would do in the top 16. As we go down the rankings, you can see still a few people with thousands of pounds to their name. Even the likes of Jimmy White, 78. Jimmy's at the moment, which is nice to see. Crafty Ken 64. Trying to see if there's been any crazy developments. Matthew Stevens 43. Ben Wollaston 36 looks about right. But yeah, there you go. Cool. Okay. First event of the season, Trump versus Higgins, and Higgins wins it, which is a little surprising. Selby versus Trump in Yushan. Oh, and Trump wins it. Going against what I would have expected in those two tournaments. For crying out loud. Played David Lilly in the first round of this European Masters qualifying. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? Let's be honest. It was always going to happen. But we'll just concede it straight away. No aim and aid. So you can see what the no aim and aid looks like.
Place in Lamel in Belgium. It's the qualifiers for the European Masters.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, David Lilly to break.
So David Lilly is going to break off here. Oh, he's broke off beautifully. Now then, let's see how I would do with no aim and aid whatsoever.
This is a half chance.
No.
And he's missed that.
Not quite. And we can't concede it yet. Gotta hope David Lilly pots one here. Oh, and he does. Well played to David Lilly. What a fabulous player he is.
Frame
And he
conceded.
beats
Frame
Mark Williams
unmatched.
by 4
Davy
frames to
Lilley.
0. And that'll hopefully help his ranking out a little bit. Getting through that match. It's not one he'd normally get through. So there you go. Good old David Lilley beats Mark Williams. Biggest win of his career, bless him. Right, Paul Hunter Classic. Let's see who's going to win that. Ronnie versus Mark. Ronnie wins at 4-0, gets revenge for his defeat in the World Championship final. Higgins versus Selby. Selby wins at 8-2. Shanghai Masters then. Ronnie versus Trump. Ronnie wins 11-8. Indian Open. Ronnie versus Trump again. And Trump wins it this time, 5-1. China Championship. Neil Robertson versus Mark Selby. And it's Neil Robertson that wins by 10 frames to 7. Any more European Masters. Unfortunately, David Lilley did not make it to the final. He didn't have the dream run, but Mark Selby has beaten Neil Robertson 9 frames to 5. English Open coming up next. Selby versus Higgins. Higgins wins 9-3. International Championship. Ronnie versus Trump. Ronnie wins. Big tournament that to win. Trump versus Selby. Selby wins 10-9. Last one before the first ranking check of the season. Allen versus Selby, and Selby wins it. I feel like Selby is going to be pretty much number one. No, still 400,000 behind. Seen nothing from Bingham this season, unfortunately. Wilson up to 6. Lazowski 9. You can see we've dropped out of the top 16 now. So Ali Carter has took up that spot. So a bit of a shame that we didn't see Ryan Day or Joe Perry overtake us there. But here we go for the UK Championship. Allen versus Ronnie. Ronnie wins 10-5, so he's got an insane record now, Ronnie, in that tournament. Scottish Open. Selby versus Allen. Selby wins 9-5. Mark Selby getting back to his dominant ways, unfortunately. Bingham versus Ronnie. Bingham wins it. He beats Ronnie, so he's safely through. Maguire versus Selby. Oh, would love to have seen Maguire win that. Robertson versus Selby in the final of the Masters, and it's Robertson that wins 10-8. Championship League 3, Lazowski O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan wins it 3-0. Championship League 4, Robertson versus Trump. Trump wins that one. Some big names not through here in the Championship League. O'Sullivan, Wilson. O'Sullivan wins in a decider. That was very close. And then Higgins versus O'Sullivan. And O'Sullivan getting back into form before the World Championship, it seems. Robertson, Selby. Selby wins. Championship League 5. Murphy versus Higgins. Higgins wins. Championship League 6, Lazowski versus Robertson, and Robertson wins. Snooker shootout. Anything can happen. It doesn't usually, though. Allen versus Gilbert. Come on, Gilbert. Allen wins 1-0. Players' Championship then. Robertson versus Trump, and Trump wins 10-5. Gibraltar Open. Robertson versus Gilbert. Oh, Robertson wins it. Coral Tour Championship then. O'Sullivan versus Allen. O'Sullivan wins 9-2. Championship League 7. Allen versus Wilson. Allen wins 3-2. Championship League winners, Higgins, Selby, and Selby. Look at him. Ronnie versus Higgins in the China Open, and Ronnie wins that again. There's the qualifiers for the World Championship, and we'll have a quick rankings check before the World Championship happens. So Ronnie leading the way, 800k ahead of Selby, Trump, Robertson, Higgins, Allen, Wilson, Bingham. Then Lazowski, Gilbert, Murphy, Hawkins, Brissell. Ding down to 14 now. Maguire 15 and Ali Carter in 16th. Ronnie versus Robertson in the final of the World Championship. And Neil Robertson beats Ronnie. He's got to the final 2 years in a row and cannot win the World Championship. Right, let's continue on. Season 3 now. Oh, for crying out loud. We're playing Luca Brissell in the first round. Oh, dear. Oh, it's so easy to do. It's so annoying. It is the most annoying thing. I wish you could just skip all tournaments.
Very interesting matches to watch.
But here you go.
Time for the qualifiers for the World Open.
But this game wasn't built for this sort of thing. Now then,
Thank
are we
you,
going to
ladies
get
and gentlemen.
the
first
break
frame.
off?
Mark Williams to break.
Yes. So here we go. I'm going to absolutely braid the reds. Oops. Where's the cue ball going? Oh, there's a red in. Well, the 147's on here.
1.
Gotta go for it. Gotta go for it.
No gimme.
And he's
No,
missed
not
it.
quite. Missed the power bar anyway.
Frame conceded.
Well played, Luca.
Luca Brissell.
And he's through.
Didn't even play a shot. But won the match. I'll have to remember where I hit those reds. Deary me. Right, let's see what... Barry Hawkins in the final. Doesn't win it though. Nice start of the season though. Oh, bloody hell. Selby's winning again. Right, we got another qualifier coming up here. Need to be careful not to enter these tournaments. Right, Paul Hunter Classic, Ronnie versus Robertson. Ronnie wins it 4-3. 6 Red World Championship. Who's going to win this one? Selby versus O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan wins 8-6, so he gets revenge on him. Shanghai Masters. Selby Higgins. Selby wins. Indian Open. Lazowski Trump. Oh, Trump wins. Well done. China Championship. Allen versus O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan wins again. International Championship qualifiers. There'll be European ones after this. Oh no, we've already done them apparently. O'Sullivan Robertson then. Oh, no, O'Sullivan wins it. English Open. Look how happy Sean Murphy is there. Rinse and repeat. Robertson wins it this time, 9-3. International Championship, Selby Higgins. And Selby wins. Higgins just can't seem to get the better of Selby in this save. Unfortunately for him. Right then, last one before our first ranking check of Season 3. Robertson versus Higgins. Robertson wins 9-8. Betway UK Championship. First ranking event of the season. A Triple Crown event of the season, sorry. Ronnie still 400k ahead of Selby. Bingham's still in the top 8, even though he hasn't really done anything for a little while. Haven't seen anything from Carter yet either, but Zhao Gudong is now 17th. Graham Dott in 18th as well, so Joe Perry and Ryan Day have dropped down a little bit. Very interesting. Right. Ronnie versus Neil. Ronnie wins it. So Ronnie's starting to... Wait, he's won something like the last 5 UK championships at this point, which is crazy. Joe Perry versus Ronnie O'Sullivan in Championship League 1. Lazowski Selby. Nope. Daffabet Masters then. Higgins versus O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan wins 10-7. He's on for the Triple Crown again. Ooh, Robertson Bingham. Robertson wins. Haven't seen anything from Bingham, and all of a sudden he turns along in 2 tournaments and he beats Trump 3-1. Come on, Bingham. Yes. German Masters. O'Sullivan, Selby. Selby wins. Ah. World Grand Prix. Trump versus Robertson. Robertson wins 10-9. Welsh Open. Robertson, Selby. Selby wins 9-7. Championship League 5. Murphy versus Higgins. A repeat of a couple of years ago. Oh, but Higgins wins. Trump versus Allen. Trump wins 3-2. Snooker shootout. Are we going to get any surprise finalists? Murphy versus Selby. Come on, Sean. Ah, that's a shame. Players' Championship then. Selby versus Robertson. Selby wins 10-3. Wow. Gibraltar Open coming up. O'Sullivan, Bingham. But no beating O'Sullivan there. Tour Championship. Trump versus Higgins. Trump wins. Championship League 7. Murphy versus Allen. I tell you what, Murphy has got to 3 finals now, but still can't win anything. Championship League winners. Selby versus O'Sullivan, and Selby wins it once again. The China Open then. Robertson versus Allen. Robertson wins 10-8. So there you go. Going into the World Championship then. Ronnie just ahead of Mark Selby. So this is going to be crucial who wins this World Championship. Wilson, Bingham, Lazowski, Murphy into the top 10 now. Yep. Cool. Lou Harshan is up into the top 20 now. Let's see who gets the highest break. Graham Dott in the World Championship qualifiers. And here's the World Championship then. Selby O'Sullivan. And Selby wins it again. O'Sullivan has got to the final 3 years in a row, but cannot win the World Championship. So there we go then. That is where we're going to leave it for today. We will do a final ranking check. And you can see Mark Williams, unsurprisingly, at the bottom. Go all the way at the top. Ronnie leads the way. It doesn't look like there's any sort of shocks lower than that. Ali Carter must have had a decent World Championship. He's caught up to Stephen Maguire a little bit. But yeah, that's where we're going to leave it for today. Fergal O'Brien up to 37. Alan McManus up to 39. Goodness me. A couple of good little performances there. Just having a little closer look at these lower top 64 folk. David Lilly, 68th in the world. I wonder how much that was helped by beating us in that first round qualifying. Wow. Rory McLeod down to 78. Jimmy White, 83. Yeah. Interesting. So, that's where we're going to leave it for today. Would you like a part 2 of this one? I think there were some interesting results. I might be interested in doing another 3 seasons of this, just to see what happens. But if you've enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like down below. It really does help me out. It means a lot to me as well. Subscribe to the channel for daily Snooker 19 videos, and I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.